Good evening and thank you and welcome to another episode of CV Weatherfront. I'm Chris Ramirez, joined with Aaron Ayers, our weekend meteorologist, and this is where we talk all about weather, from here in the Concho Valley and to, of course, around the nation, and of course with this live stream around the world.
Yeah, we're going global.
We're going global with our episode for today in terms of looking at those weather forecasts or weather happenings around the world there, because we are dealing with some global events that are currently that are occurring across the world there. So looking at our current situation, we're going to start off with our weather briefing like normal. That latest drought monitor, we're seeing those severe drought conditions in place for much of the Concho Valley. This is in place for us, stretching from Schleicher County all the way to Reynolds County. The good news here is that we're not seeing those extreme drought conditions. I've said this countless times on air with that, of course, with the past 2 weeks, we did see some good rainfall, which you were filling in during that week where I was, of course, on vacation. And so we definitely saw some much needed rain. It got us under those extreme drought conditions. We're no longer seeing those red colors. But looking at the current future cast, we are expecting rain in the forecast as we head into tomorrow morning. We're going to expect to see this increase in cloud cover as we go into those overnight hours. There is an upper level low pressure system that's currently in place off to the west of us. It's approaching from the west. We're going to see this increase in cloud cover. We could see some widespread showers for tomorrow morning, so definitely your commute out the door to school and work could be just a little bit of a wet one as we go if you're traveling out and about. So give yourself some extra time if you are traveling to and from work, because we're going to start seeing this increase in showers. We could see a few strong storms with this. Of course, this model doesn't show that, but we could see some stronger storms up near the I-20 corridor along the area just towards the big country there. Temperatures will remain in the 70s. We were going to continue to see those very warm temps for what we're expected to see this time of year as we go into the next several days. This is lasting until Friday. I don't know if you were able to see any comments there. Do you have viewers tuning in?
We do. We have people saying
awesome.
Hi, so.
Awesome. So thank you for joining us. So of course, clearing out for Wednesday afternoon, temperatures in the 70s, but then looking at the big picture here, this is the current, Joey, if you could take this full screen right now, this is the current Texas-wide radar here in place for the entire state of Texas. We're looking at already increasing showers in the forecast that are actually, hold on, we're having a little bit of issues with our graphics. Hold on, there we go. Okay, so as we're seeing those increasing showers for far west Texas in and around El Paso, and there's actually high wind warnings in place for portions of west Texas there, just off the Guadalupe Mountains there, because we're expecting to see some very high wind gusts. This particular weather system that's currently off the coast of the Baja California, you're able to see that spinning low there, that's approaching from the west. That's going to be moving towards Texas. That's going to be responsible for bringing those rain chances in the picture for us as we go into Wednesday morning. You're able to see those clouds moving into West Texas, and of course for us here in the Concho Valley. But looking at this extended future cast going into tomorrow morning, widespread rain showers possible. Of course, with gusty winds, we could see wind gusts up to 30, 40 miles an hour for us here in west central Texas. But then going into the next several days there, we're going to continue to see those rain chances and the picture for Thursday. A little bit more clear conditions for Thursday, but other than that, we are expecting a cold front to come through as we go into Friday morning. That's going to be responsible for bringing our temps back down into the low 60s, overnight temps back down into the 30s as we go into the next coming days there. But other than that, pleasant weekend ahead of us. But then our next weather system, Aaron, I don't know if you've looked at the models yet, but we are definitely keeping an eye on a weather system, a particular system that's going to be coming through during Thanksgiving week that could cause a messy travel commute for people who are traveling around Tuesday into Wednesday. Of course, models are definitely disagreeing on the timing of that. It's a little bit too out as we currently look at this current situation. But in terms of that weather forecast for next week, for our Thanksgiving weather forecast, we can expect to see some possible rain. It's going to be messy. We could see some winter weather for portions of Texas. And of course, the further north you get, of course, that's where you're going to see more messy situation. But like I said, models are disagreeing on that. It's a little bit too early on the timing, so definitely keep an eye on that, on the weather situation for next week if you're traveling around the state of Texas or if you're flying anywhere. But looking at our atmospheric energy there, we are, and I usually don't show this, but looking at that atmospheric energy, I'm going to go ahead and show you where you see those bright red colors. That's where you see the higher vorticity levels, and that's where you can expect to see unstable air. As we go into Tuesday and Wednesday, we're going to see some of that come through for Thursday and Friday. That's our first cold front right there. As you see those red colors come into Texas, that's where we're going to see some more rain chances as that front comes through. And then, of course, as we go into Saturday and Sunday, we're expecting to see another system, that system right there. When you see those reds sweeping down into the Concho Valley, that's going to be the Tuesday weather maker expected to come through Tuesday into Wednesday, going into the next several days there. So definitely expect to see somewhat of a weather situation, somewhat of a not really severe weather, but something to be looking at, keeping an eye on as we go into next week, because we could see some messy travel conditions for portions of the U.S. as this large-scale weather system comes through the week of Thanksgiving there. So did you have any comments, anything going on?
Yeah, your mom says hi.
Oh, tell her I said, oh, well, hi, Mom. I can tell her myself. So any other comments or just
so let's see. Billy Herbert wants to know, what does it look like for Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
And, you know, we're talking about the potential for some wet weather, potentially the days prior to Thanksgiving. So definitely potential for some travel impacts, especially if you leave early on Tuesday,
Wednesday, yeah. So we could see that, some travel concerns. I know a lot of us fly to different locations. Of course, when one weather system affects a big airport area, such as the Dallas-Fort Worth area, that's when you start seeing those trickling down effects across the nation when you see those large-scale weather systems come through. Even if a major weather system hits Chicago or New York or Atlanta, Atlanta's a big hub, you end up seeing that actually start trickling throughout the rest of the nation in terms of traveling. So something to keep an eye on. We are keeping an eye on that as that comes through for the next week there. So, but Thanksgiving, a little bit too far out because it's past our 7-day forecast, but one of those things to keep an eye on for the early next week as we go into the next several days there. But looking at our Texas futurecast, kind of looking at your travel conditions, expect highs in the 70s. We're going to remain in the 70s as we go into Wednesday and Thursday. And of course, those rain chances continue in the picture as we head into Friday. That's when that front comes through, because you see those temperatures already getting down into the upper 40s for the Texas Panhandle for Friday for our highs. And then we'll be in the low 60s for Saturday and Sunday with clear conditions. Expect a pleasant weekend. And then as we head into Monday and Tuesday, that's when you see that snowy conditions. That's when that next weather system is expected to come through around Tuesday, Monday-ish, but models are disagreeing on whether or not how far south that initial low comes down towards the area. So, of course, if that continues in the picture, we could see, right now it's showing that most of it's going to remain north of Texas, but like we said, when we get into those winter months, that's when we start seeing the uncertainty of what's going to happen in terms of that weather forecast as we go into the next coming days or so. But we're going into our situation. So now we're going to be covering our national headlines.
And world headlines.
World headlines, because what we usually do is that we usually talk about world headlines, weather events that are currently occurring from around the nation, but now we're going to start focusing on world headlines. So looking at that, our first video, this is out of Australia. As we go into the situation, there's wildfires burning in Australia. And I don't know, Aaron, if you had some, I think, what did you say? There was a lot of...
There are currently, in Australia, there are 55 fires burning.
And this video right here is of a koala being rescued. This woman is rescuing a koala that was...
Well, she took the shirt off her own back to pick up this koala that had been burned. And now look, she's giving it water. Wow. And then you'll see her pour water on its burn spots and, just...
Oh my gosh. Because the koala population in Australia is the main species that's suffering from these wildfires over there. So it's one of those things where, she's trying to tend to those, to that koala that was stranded in that tree. Because, of course, they really can't travel that fast. It looks like he's crying.
Yeah,
this is a heartbreaking video.
It is.
A heartbreaking video, but, this koala was, rescued by this woman. And of course, this story is actually making headlines across everywhere because, you're able to see, suffering from burns. You're seeing that blood there. But yeah, it's one of those main things. This is happening in Australia. A lot of wildfires going on in Australia.
25 of which are uncontained right now. So that's a lot of fires that are uncontained right now in Australia. More than 100 schools are closed today, which is Wednesday. Over there, it's Wednesday now. It's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon over there now. But they're bracing for catastrophic fire danger conditions throughout the country of Australia.
Yeah, that's, it's of course, like you mentioned, we were talking about this earlier, and looking at that is that Of course, our seasons are flopped because they're on the opposite side of the world than us. They're in the southern hemisphere, and of course, we're getting into our winter seasons, which they're going into spring, summer. Yeah, they're going into spring, summer, so they're getting a lot of those. A lot of that severe type weather that we would associate for our spring here in the States. But going into that, talking about severe weather, in Australia, still, there is a major hailstorm that was currently in place that with this. So you're dealing with wildfires, and then now you're dealing with this severe weather of this hailstorms. This was some severe weather that was taking place in and around Australia near the Sunshine Coast in Brisbane. I'm assuming that's how I'm...
Brisbane?
I think it's Brisbane. Is it Brisbane? Brisbane? I'm good. Okay.
Oh, okay.
See, so yes, hopefully I can earn some Aussie points there. So, but looking at this, there was a major hailstorm, which we see that here. We see golf ball sized hail that falls here in West Texas, and they're dealing with that over there. Destroyed a lot of stuff. Ended up knocking down trees. That major hail actually damaged a lot of buildings, and I know there was a video that was actually going viral. Look at that hail damage to those cars. During a hailstorm, when it's golf ball sized hail, a car is not the safest place to be. And also in your house too, look how those hailstones went straight through the roof of that house. So wow, it's just insane of how much of a hazard that can do. But according to that, the Bureau of Meteorology, of course, in Australia, issued warnings for large and giant hail, saying that there would also be, along with this giant hail, damaging winds with these storms that were currently in place there. So yeah, they're dealing with severe weather because, of course, they're going through our spring there. But kind of switching gears here, now we're going to Italy.
Yes, this is Venice.
Venice. Flooding. This is, like you said, this is the second time.
Yes, the second time this month that they've experienced flooding, and it's due to high tides. It's due to the winds that push the water into the city, and so they're seeing devastating flooding right now. You're seeing like little pathways that have been put up there with the city officials that have come out and help people rescue people from buildings and stuff that were flooded. So
this is not from rain. This is from the high tides.
Yes,
correct? Okay.
it is.
So yeah, and you said this was the second time this month that they were actually having to deal with this, because if you all know, Venice, according to climatologists, is slowly sinking, and it's going to continue to flood there. And it looks to me that they are dealing with this. Most of the city was underwater in terms of that when we look at the situation, because it's the second time that it has flooded this month, and now more images coming out of Venice of just, man, barely anywhere to walk. Most of it's underwater. A very beautiful town, beautiful city, and somewhere I would want to visit, because it's one of those places that's like, under one of the, what is it called? A bucket list of where you want to travel, and it is kind of heartbreaking to see that they're dealing with that flooding in and around Venice, because it looks to me, according to climatologists, that this is going to be continuing to happen as we go into the next several years there. And of course, going into our next, coming back home, this was ice. We're dealing with ice here. This was in Illinois. And of course, look at that.
Whoa!
That 18-wheeler. I want to assume it's more like a moving truck. That, man, just.
It's still a big truck.
Right. So according to this video, from what we figured is that the woman, and I guess the video below was the woman was in her car.
I believe so.
And she had a dash cam on her, so she was in that car that was off in the distance there, just on the top screen. So here we go again. Yep. So she's looking behind her, and then once that truck slid, man, it barely missed that vehicle. And of course she was all right, but of course I think I don't know if there was any type of
the state troopers dragged her with them out of the way of this, and she wound up in the ditch, and the truck actually slides right over the woman in the ditch. So she had to go to the hospital just to be checked out, but she is okay. She's been released from the hospital. According to the state police on Facebook.
Right. So. Yeah, so that's very fortunate, but of course it kind of brings up that situation in terms of like winter weather and driving. Right. You have to kind of keep in mind that, when it comes to those icy conditions, you have to kind of take it easy at the wheel. And kind of, there's countermeasures that you could take, when you're driving in winter weather. Of course, if you do start sliding, keeping your hands on the wheel, not braking, keeping your foot off the brake and not braking suddenly. But other than that, that's one of those things too. Did you have anything else on that?
The box truck driver who had properly moved over to avoid the stopped patrol car because they were helping the woman change her tire was cited for failing to reduce speed to avoid a crash. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she was
Going
already
way
kind
too
of
fast.
yeah, she was already like on the side of the road there. But looking at that is that you kind of have to keep in mind that when it comes to driving in winter weather, we're seeing those increasing. I know we already had our first little ice event here in San Angelo, but so I mean, it comes to that, you have to kind of keep it easy at the wheel, not brake when you're starting to slide. And of course, you have to keep an eye on those deer because it is deer season. And I almost hit a deer last week. And of course, one of our coworkers hit a deer. But other than that, looking at that situation, but to kind of just keep an eye on the weather situation because we are expecting some rain for the next coming days, and also too, we're seeing that winter weather. Do you have any more comments? Or
my grandmother says she's ready for spring.
Well, I don't know about with us. Well, since your grandmother's from Tennessee, right?
Right.
She lives in Tennessee, which that's tornado season.
Yeah, it is. But I think she's ready for
the warmer weather.
Yeah.
I guess spring is a busy month for us here, for us meteorologists.
Oh yeah.
There, but other than that, yeah, still continue to see that. But of course, you have a game.
I do.
Who's doing it first? Okay, so
it's you going.
Is it
first.
Me going first?
No, it's me going first.
Did you put your questions?
Mine for you are at the very end.
Okay, so
that's how that works.
That's right. Okay, so we're going to do a trivia question game, and so my job here is to try to make it seem like Aaron doesn't know anything, and ask him questions that are very hard to test his knowledge on meteorology, and likewise him and me. I didn't make him that hard.
Okay, but hey, follow along. Put your answers in the comments, and we may actually use that as like a lifeline.
True.
I may use that as a lifeline to see what the audience is saying. Just to kind of pull you guys. So here, without further ado, is our first question.
Okay, this is for me.
For you, actually.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So from 1990 to 2003, which state had the least number of lightning fatalities? Was it A, Hawaii, B, Florida, C, Montana, or D, Texas?
Oh, that's a good question because I know
the least number of lightning fatalities.
Okay, so I know the most lightning is really, really abundant in Florida, but that's a trick question. So Hawaii, they also see a lot of lightning too. Texas, we see a lot of lightning. I feel like there has been somebody got struck by lightning actually recently in the Houston area. I'm going to go ahead and say C, Montana.
You're going to say C, Montana. Okay.
Oh, what's the answer to that question?
The answer is actually
Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Okay.
They actually had 0 fatalities recorded fatalities from lightning from 1990 to 2003.
In Hawaii. So, interesting, because I think they actually have lightning up in the mountains, in the mountains there. But next question here. Oh.
Or not.
Or not. What's going on here?
I don't know.
I guess that's.
Oh, is this my question?
Oh, okay, I know what happened. Anyways.
Graphics issues.
It's my question. Okay, it's my question. I'm asking Aaron. True or false, the lowest temperature on Earth ever recorded was negative 128 degrees Fahrenheit in Vostok Station, Antarctica. True or false?
I'm going to say true.
You're correct.
Yay.
You got 1 point there.
1 point. Okay, I'm keeping tally.
Yeah, so I think you're going to be asking me 3 at the very end here. Okay, so next question for Aaron. In 2011, this state broke a record for the most tornadoes in a day. 72 tornadoes happened in one day in this state, and it broke a state record. A, Alabama, B, Tennessee, C, Texas, or D, Mississippi.
Okay, I should know this answer.
You should.
I should know this answer because I lived through this and I experienced this myself. And so,
wait. Furthermore, you were in Huntsville when this happened, right?
Yes, I was.
Okay, so Tuscaloosa is kind of a little bit not too far from there. I should be familiar with Alabama geography because I did go to Mississippi State.
It's not too far. It's about.
But y'all dealt with the tornado during that year.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. Oh, we're getting off topic.
No, that's, okay. Oh, you want me to answer? Okay, I'll answer the question. So, without further ado, I have to go with my home state, A, Alabama. Am I correct?
No, you're not. Tennessee was the
Oh,
state, even though
okay.
there were several violent tornadoes that happened in Alabama.
Right, there were, and there were a lot.
Yeah, because I think that's when Tuscaloosa got hit, and I know James Spann, a very respected meteorologist in Birmingham, was covering that. But the most amount of tornadoes, I think they had most damages and most fatalities from that was in Alabama, but the most tornadoes that did happen that year was in
I should have known this.
In the state of Tennessee. I picked that question because I knew.
You did it to throw me off.
I did. So, because you're from Alabama, and I knew that you were probably, but it was Tennessee. Should have been Tennessee there. Our next question. On September 19th, 1922, Al-Azizia, Libya, recorded the highest temp ever recorded on Earth. How hot did it get that day? Was it A, 150 degrees, B, 141, C, 136, D, 111?
Can I use my lifeline? Can I
ask go ahead and ask the audience. Okay. You can use a lifeline there, hopefully.
Let's see.
So the question here is on September 19th, 1922, Azizia, Libya, I don't know if I'm saying that right, recorded the highest temp ever recorded on Earth. How hot did it get that day? So you have 150, 141, 136, or 111 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay, people at home, use Google. Use Google, help me out.
Are they even responding? Are they even helping you out?
Yes, I'm seeing some responses. A lot of people are saying B, 141 degrees. So I still think that's a little bit high for me. So
anybody?
My grandmother says C, 136 degrees. Maybe a little bit closer. But I just wonder if D is in that ballpark range of where I think it should be.
See, the thing here is that it easily can get to 111 degrees here in San Angelo.
That's true.
We're talking about the hottest recorded temperature on record here on Earth.
I'm glad I didn't come here at that time.
True, yes. Well, I
came towards the tail end of that time.
True, yeah. So, I mean, it could vary. It's been 111 here. I don't know. I mean.
Okay, they're saying C now. Everybody is saying C. Everybody says go with C. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go with C. Final answer.
You're correct.
Yay!
It is
Thank
136 degrees was the hottest temperature ever recorded here on Earth. Is that the next question? Okay. This is a very easy question. I'm pretty sure you would know the answer to this, but you can also ask your audience to put their input. So, tornadoes here in the U.S. Tornadoes here in the tornadoes tend to travel. I don't know why I was waiting for it to pop up in the prompter,
and it didn't come up.
Tornadoes tend to travel in what direction in the U.S.? So we know that tornadoes can travel different directions, but usually there is a common direction that tornadoes tend to travel in the U.S. Is it A, westward, B, southward, C, northward, E, east, or D, D, eastward?
Okay. I feel like it should be a little component of two. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So meaning like you're saying that it should be more of like a southeast or southwest.
Yeah.
Okay, I know what you're
like a component.
Mean.
But if I had to guess with my options here, I would have to say C, northward.
Huh.
Final answer.
It is D, eastward.
Oh, okay.
Tornadoes tend to travel in a more so of a...
I just hope my severe weather professor isn't watching right now because I'm just like...
More so in an eastward... And you being from Tornado Alley...
Shush!
Well, Dixie, Tornado Alley. You know, there's Tornado Alley in the central... But I am very...
I should know my stuff.
More so in a southeastern direction, I believe. Or south... Yeah, southeastward.
Well, they form on the south side of the storm.
South side of the storm, but they tend to travel when you look at moving weather systems.
Okay, so the storm itself
usually travels in the direction where the storm's going. Right. So most storms, as a form, when it comes to severe weather season, they move in an eastern direction.
Right.
So that's the only relation I can think of.
Well, I was thinking like northeast.
Makes
sense.
That's
why the question threw me off.
Oh.
But, oh well. Okay. You know what? You win some, you lose some.
I'm gonna go ahead and hand the clicker over to you.
Okay. It's time to see what you know.
And try to make myself look like I don't know anything.
All right, here we go. So, Here we go. Here's something you probably don't know.
Or do I?
So in which state did 1 foot of rain fall in 42 minutes? Just 42 minutes here. And
okay.
Was it A, Alabama? Think about Mobile, very tropical climate. B, Missouri. C, California. Or D, Texas?
Okay, so if it wasn't for the tropical, like if it wasn't for Harvey and it wasn't for like the tropical systems that we've had here in Texas, I feel like it could very easily be. Okay, I feel like I want to lean towards D, but hold on. Hold on. I know it's not California. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, this is a very hard question. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and say D, Texas, but for some reason I think it's Missouri.
Do you want to change your answer?
I'm going to go with Texas.
You're going to go with Texas?
Yes.
Final answer?
Yes.
And the answer is B, Missouri.
That was my second choice. That's what they always say when you're like
when you
guessing.
second guess yourself.
You always like when it comes to taking tests or exams, they tell you always go with the first answer that you come up with, and then go with. I mean, don't ever go with your second gut or your second guess answer.
Your second gut. You have a second gut.
Second gut question. Second
I'm
guess.
just teasing. Next question. Here we go. What was the coldest temperature observed at Prospect Creek, Alaska?
Goodness.
So here are the answer choices. The answer choice is A, was it negative 90 degrees? These are all Fahrenheit, not Celsius. B, negative 80 degrees Fahrenheit. C, negative 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Or D, negative 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay, so Prospect Creek, Alaska. Can I ask a question? Can I ask one of those like questions, follow-up questions? Is it like in very?
What is this? 50 questions?
You had a lifeline, okay? Like
no, you can. Yeah, go.
Okay, I'm gonna ask like a supporting question. Is it like in northern Alaska, or is Prospect Creek like?
You know, I didn't look this up. I have no clue, but I do know that this is the coldest temperature in the USA.
Okay, I'm gonna go with B, negative 80 degrees Fahrenheit.
The answer is B,
I was
negative
right.
80 degrees Fahrenheit. Way to go.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
So,
next
okay,
question.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, did you want to say something about that?
Oh, no, I'm good.
Okay. Next question. In what year did Birmingham, Alabama report 13 inches of snow during the storm of the century? Was it A, 1811, B, 1996, C, 2010, or D, 1993?
Okay, so being in Mississippi, I always heard people talking about, oh yeah, that storm in 1996 that happened. Like I remember when it like blizzarded in 1996. Everybody always quoted this 1996 winter event that happened in the Deep South when I spent time in Mississippi. I'm going with B, 1996.
And the answer is 1993, 3 years prior.
Were you even born?
I was born in 96.
Okay, was there a winter event that happened there?
There was an icing event that happened in 96, but this is the storm of the century back in 1993
I was
when
wrong.
we got a lot of snow, snow versus ice. So it was a snow event.
There was another winter event that happened in Alabama-ish area that happened like in the late 90s where people always quote it when I was in Mississippi. I don't know who was there? I don't know.
There was icing in the
something around
late
96
90s,
or somebody. Yeah. Is there another question?
There is.
Oh, okay.
Oh, did we do this one already?
Well,
yeah,
we
did do
did.
this one.
So that we know the answer to this question, which was Hawaii, correct? Yeah. You know, a lot of lightning happens in Florida. A lot of lightning happens in Texas.
Yep.
In the southern
And
tropical
it turns out
regions, but
it's
Hawaii.
Actually, Hawaii. At least from 1990 to 2003 when those records were kept.
So do you have any Facebook interaction in
We
terms
did.
of...
We had a lot of people putting in answers that they thought were correct. And so thanks, guys, for playing along with us.
Yeah.
So I'll hand this back to you and
Thank
let
you.
you take over.
Right. So we're supposed to end at 9:40. So we're about to approach that 9:40 mark. There's kind of ending notes here that we're not going to be streaming next week during Thanksgiving week.
Right. Enjoy your Thanksgiving.
So enjoy your Thanksgiving. Of course, if you're traveling all across the state of Texas, be very safe because it looks to me that some of us could see some type of winter, or not really winter, but more of like the
wet weather.
Wet weather.
Yeah, let's
gotta be careful about
that. Let's make sure we understand what we're talking about here.
Not winter yet, you know.
Not yet.
But, you know, if you're flying anywhere, of course, your flights could be delayed too.
Yeah.
Because those winter weather systems come through.
Big weather system moving through a good portion of the central part of the U.S.
True. Well, you can always follow us on Facebook. Of course, I myself on Chris Ramirez KSAN on Facebook, and of course on Twitter at Chris Ramirez WX, and of course.
There I am, meteorologist here in Ears on Facebook and on Twitter at AirNA_WX. So check us out on social media.
Right, so that's all we have for you for our episode 4 of our CV Weather Front. Join us the week after next for our episode 5. Have a good rest of your night.